It's 1980. Paul McCartney lands in Tokyo. In a suitcase, half a pound of marijuana. Within hours, he's in handcuffs.
Paul McCartney was arrested at Heathrow Airport this afternoon and charged with possessing cannabis.
And McCartney spends 9 days in the Japanese jail cell, wondering if his career is over.
Do you think this experience will affect in your music life?
I'm not sure. You never know.
Fast forward to today.
No baggage on board in the plane. Leaving everything bad in the rearview and taking whatever remains.
Snoop Dogg opens his own cannabis shop. Rihanna posts videos of herself rolling joints. Justin Bieber is smoking a bong on Instagram. Something fundamental changed. And it wasn't just a loss. Since McCartney's 1980 arrest, over 20 countries have decriminalized cannabis and 8 more have legalized recreational use by this year. Global weed consumption doubled, with US sales alone hitting $30 billion last year. This increase in weed consumption has rewired how music sounds, how it gets made, how we listen to it. We've swapped urgent protest songs for chill background music. We turned rebellion into a brand. But here's the question that nobody wants to ask. Did this actually make music better, or did it just make everything hazy? Let me tell you a story.
Something you can say about that? Have some comment from you, Mr. Boy?
In 1976, David Bowie and Iggy Pop get busted in upstate New York with a few grams of weed.
Mr. Bowie maintains his innocence. He's never been arrested before in his life, and I think
headlines scream scandal. Careers teeter on the edge, because in the 70s, smoking weed wasn't just a vibe. Getting caught with it could end your career, land you in prison, or get you banned from countries.
We'd been told, don't take it into Japan. Very severe penalties. And I can see the guy opening my suitcase, and right on the top is this big bag of grass. I didn't even put it in a sweater or hide it.
Musicians not only couldn't carry weed with themselves, but also couldn't really sing about it. So they had to be clever. But then came Bob Marley.
The whole world confused you and you're worried and you don't have no time to think. Herb is a thing that give you a little time for yourself so you can live, if you use it.
Marley didn't hide it. He didn't code it. He made cannabis a central part of his spiritual and political message. For Marley, weed wasn't just recreation, it was revelation. And that scared the establishment even more. When Marley toured, his shows got cancelled, his music got banned, radio stations refused to play his songs because weed wasn't just illegal, it was tied to the broader movement that challenged authority.
We just see them just say, no, you mustn't use it because it make you rebel. Against what?
America's public enemy number one is drug abuse. In order to fight and defeat this enemy, it is necessary to wage a new all-out offensive.
In 1971, US President Richard Nixon's war on drugs made weed public enemy number one.
Police officer, open the door.
Possession meant jail time.
I do not want to go to jail for something that I can consider harmless to both society and myself.
And this stat is crazy. Over 400,000 arrests a year by 1980.
And it is kind of depressing to know that I should be given 50 years for allegedly selling some lid of marijuana.
The government saw cannabis as defiance, tied to anti-war protests and counterculture. When influential artists like Marley smoked openly, they weren't just breaking laws, they were defying the system, and the feds hated it.
So roll me up and smoke me when I die.
Because back then, when an artist referenced cannabis, it was an act of rebellion. Dangerous, subversive, and powerful. But revolution don't stay underground forever. Eventually, someone figures out a way to package rebellion and sell it back to the masses. Throughout the 1980s, hip-hop rises beyond the underground and starts to get popular on mainstream radio. Suburban white kids are now tuning into Yo! MTV Raps.
MTV Rap.
Then, Dr. Dre drops The Chronic in 1992.
And nigga, your album is gonna be the shit on the streets. That's what you need to name your album, cuz The Chronic.
Suddenly, weed isn't just about spiritual awakening or political resistance. It's about attitude. It's about style. It's about being cool. The album goes multi-platinum, hip-hop explodes into the ethos, and cannabis culture rides that wave. While rock stars still had to code their references or face career scandals, rappers made weed central to their identity and their art. By the 1990s, you got Snoop Dogg on TV openly talking about smoking.
And there's something about that cannabis that brings the best out of whoever you are if you tap into your spirit or why it's here.
Jay-Z frames dealing weed as entrepreneurial success. Wiz Khalifa has built an entire brand around weed obsession. Marijuana becomes synonymous with the image. Then comes Afroman with Because I Got High in 2001.
I was gonna go to work, but then I got high.
The song is basically a comedy routine set to music. Weed isn't dangerous anymore. It's funny. It's relatable, and it's safe enough for mainstream radio. The 2010s bring mass legalization. State by state, country by country, cannabis laws change.
I couldn't fit this award in my bag, but I did find this, so thank you guys very much.
As laws changed, so did the music industry's comfort level. But something else was happening too. Weed didn't just change what musicians sang about. It literally changed what popular music sounds like. Just think about the biggest hits of the early 2000s. Beyoncé's Crazy in Love. Hey Ya by Outkast. Or Lady Gaga's Just Dance. They're kind of similar in that they're all 120 to 130 beats per minute. They're designed to make you move, to get your heart rate up, to demand your attention. Now think about what music dominated the 2010s. Billie Eilish's When the Party's Over. 72 BPM. Lord's Royals. Around 85 BPM. Even The Weeknd's biggest hits hover around 90 BPM. Music got slower, a lot slower. And it's not just the tempo either. Everything got hazier, more atmospheric. Production started favoring reverb over punch, texture over clarity, mood over melody. I think Kid Cudi pioneered the sound with Day and Night. A song that feels like it's floating in space. Tame Impala took psychedelic rock and made it dreamy instead of explosive. The Weeknd turned R&B into something you experience rather than just listen to. Lo-fi hip-hop and vaporwave become genres unto themselves. YouTube streams of crackling beats and anime girls studying became cultural phenomena. Music that was specifically designed not to demand attention started getting millions of plays. Now here's where we need to have an uncomfortable conversation. Weed was supposed to unlock creativity, break down barriers, help artists think outside the box and make groundbreaking music. And sometimes it did. Tame Impala's Kevin Parker used psychedelics and cannabis to create genuinely innovative sounds. Mac DeMarco used weed to find his laid-back persona and turn it into authentic art.
I love to play my instruments because it makes me happy.
Kid Cudi opened up about mental health in ways that felt revolutionary. But look closer, and a different pattern emerges. How many stoner classics actually follow the same template? Slow tempo, dreamy production, repetitive hooks, hazy vocals. The sound that was supposed to represent infinite creative possibilities started feeling boring. Look at what happened to lo-fi hip-hop. What started as intimate, creative bedroom recordings became an endless stream of nearly identical chill beats to study to. Because when Spotify playlists need 10 hours of content, originality becomes secondary to fitting the vibe. And here's the thing about being high. It makes everything feel profound, even when it isn't. And that might be great for the listener's experience, but it might not be great for pushing creative boundaries. Do this experience with me. Think deeply about it. When did we stop making urgent music, angry music, music that challenged us instead of just setting a mood? Compare the emotional range of popular music from the 1970s to today. Back then, you had everything from Marvin Gaye's What's Going On to Led Zeppelin's Kashmir. And even had the Sex Pistols, God Save the Queen. These were protest songs, epic journeys, intimate confessions, all existing side by side. In my opinion, today's pop music occupies a much narrower emotional spectrum. Everything needs to be chill. Everything needs to be a vibe. When was the last time you heard a genuinely confrontational song on mainstream radio? Maybe the real creativity paradox is this. Weed promised to expand our consciousness, but it might have actually narrowed our musical tastes. And that begs the question, was this all by accident? Or was it a carefully created marketing campaign?
Legal marijuana is projected to be a $7 billion industry.
The music industry didn't just accept cannabis culture. It built an entire business model around it.
Rapper and actor Ice-T is getting into the cannabis business. Ice-T will be opening a recreational cannabis dispensary in New Jersey with a business partner.
Artists stopped just referencing weed and started selling it.
You got rappers who was rapping about the weed, now they becoming CEOs. It's becoming a business for them because they stood on it so long to where people relied on them. So when it became legal, their face and their brand was one of the brands and one of the faces that could actually take this business to another level.
Jay-Z's new cannabis brand, Monogram, it launches at noon today.
Jay-Z launched Monogram. Seth Rogen created Houseplant. Snoop Dogg, of course, has multiple cannabis companies. The rebellion became a revenue stream. Music festivals started featuring cannabis lounges and branded partnerships. Streaming platforms packaged stoner culture into algorithmic playlists. The platforms didn't just respond to demand, they created it. Record labels started funding weed-themed releases and marketing campaigns. Cannabis wasn't just tolerated, it was encouraged. And that dangerous edge that made it powerful in the 1970s was being sanded down and repackaged as entertainment. And the money was too good to resist. When rebellion becomes a product, is it still rebellion? The artists that made weed dangerous, who risked their careers to challenge authority, they weren't trying to build lifestyle brands, they were trying to change the world. Today, we have an entire industry built around selling the aesthetic of that rebellion without any of the actual risk or meaning. Cannabis culture went from question everything to buy everything, from spiritual awakening to consumer awakening. From challenging the system to becoming it. So what did we really gain or lose from all of this?
As we legalize it throughout the country, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's awfully hard to have people all over the jails that are in jail right now for something that's legal.
Here we are in 2025. Weed is legal in many places. Artists can be completely open about their usage.
Might need some more marijuana.
The stigma is gone, the dangers are minimal, and Mary Jane is fully integrated into modern music. So, mission accomplished, right? Maybe. But how did we go from sneaking around, getting high, and making influential music like this? To lighting it up in the open and making music like this. In my ears at least, something feels different about music today compared to that era, when it was truly counterculture to light up. Of course, it's probably not just weed's fault, I don't think it's that simplistic, but I think it has played a role. Studies have found that THC levels in marijuana today are around 30% compared to 2% in the 1970s. That's significant. So the Beatles smoking a joint in the studio were experiencing a much more mellow high than artists are today. So naturally the music would follow. And I like today's music too, and I'm hesitant to say that this is a good thing or a bad thing, but along the way, we lost something. And it coincides with this trend surrounding weed culture. We traded the danger and meaning of the underground for the comfort and commerce of mainstream acceptance. We gained authenticity but lost edge. We got more open but less urgent. And honestly, I'm not sure if that's progress or just a different kind of problem. Maybe the real question isn't whether weed changed modern music. Maybe it's whether we still want music that challenges us. These are just thoughts that I've had lingering. I want to get them out. I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. Did cannabis culture help music evolve into something more authentic? Or did it just make everything sound the same? Because honestly, I'm still trying to figure that one out. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please subscribe to this channel. That would be very helpful. Also, share this video with someone you think will love it. And check out Ground News through the link in the description or use this QR code over here. They have 40% off their Vantage plan right now, so check that one out. And as always, be curious, keep exploring, and see you for the next one.